Welcome, everybody. Here we are for the Magical Women series. Today, we're interviewing Kindra of Kinsight on Instagram, Kindra Nikole. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay, I have known ever since I started this series that I wanted to have you on it because you are certainly one of the most magical type of people around. And your life is just imbued with so much artistic. I think that's how it sneaks through a lot of times too. People are like, oh, it's art and it's magic. Like it's both. But what I would really love to talk to you about today is how you feel your way into ritual. What ritual means as far as setting some intentions or doing something like we were just saying before we started recording, how you go out into the woods on the solstices and equinoxes sometimes and just not necessarily from anything anyone taught you, but you just gather some things and light a candle. And what do you do? I would love to know, first off, why you do that, what calls you to do it, and how you see it reflected in your life.
Yeah, so it was interesting because when we were talking before we started recording, I realized I've never actually put words to this. Maybe here and there I've posted on social media, but for the most part, it's pretty private practice. Um, and really, I just feel into myself and just kind of what you said, I grab things that feel right. So, if I have a candle lying around, I grab it. And as I'm walking through the forest, I might see some lichen or, another type of plant. I might just reach for it if I feel that it's speaking to me, you know, really speaking to me. And then I just have a sit somewhere private. Usually I sit down and I just plunk the candle into the earth, wet soil, and I
Oh,
light.
why what?
Why wet soil?
Yeah.
So that I don't create a forest fire.
Grounded, I like it.
Exactly. Um, yeah, but there are so many things that I do and that I have done for a long time without even being aware of it. And only within, I would say, the last year and a half have I started to realize that what I have been doing is ritualistic and is connected to something greater and is very spiritual. And I mean, even if you spoke to me a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have wanted to use the word spiritual because I shied away from it for many, many reasons. I had an aversion to that word. And only very recently have I started to step into what my spirituality looks like and finding a deep and very real comfort in it and not allowing my own fear of judgment from outside myself or retaliation or any of those types of things to stop me from doing what feels right, even if it's something as simple as sitting in the forest with a candle, on the solstice.
Wow, that's so amazing. Thank you for saying that because I was just having a conversation earlier today about wounds from your childhood, like things that someone said or did. Wounds from words can last lifetimes, even many lifetimes, even generations of lifetimes, and how there are certain things that now you still don't necessarily do because of something that got locked up way back then when maybe everyone in your life now would support you. It's not even really happening in the here and now, but it happened sometime and it keeps you stuck. So, okay, a couple questions. First one, how does your life feel different when you do these moments of sacred attention versus when you didn't?
I feel much more grounded, for one thing. I feel more present, more in my body, which is something that I think all of us really need more of. I especially need it. It's very easy for me to float into outer space. And so when I sit down and I, set an intention, something even as simple as I am grateful to be sitting in this beautiful land surrounded by trees right now. But even something as simple as that really brings me into my body. Um, and there's just so much more gratitude and calmness and patience in my world since I've started doing these things very consciously. And I feel a profound connection to something greater. Whereas for quite a long time, I did not. The connection was there, but I didn't feel it, and I felt very isolated, very alone, and very, for lack of a better word, lost. And now I don't even feel the need to prove it to myself or to anybody else, but especially to myself. I know that that connection is there, and I know that there is something bigger, and I don't run away from that anymore. So that's how it feels different. Yeah, very different.
Wow, I love that. That's deep and it's so multifaceted. It's funny, synchronicity has just really been popping amazingly lately. And just today, just when I was laying down to have a little nap so I could recharge my energy before we talked, I was feeling energy flowing. And you know how you're kind of laying in bed and your energy is kind of doing stuff and you're just kind of seeing it and balancing it, especially after you learn Reiki. I know you felt of different energy flows, which is a whole other conversation that I would love to have with you. Um, but I was thinking, I had this realization, and it's funny because when we have these deep realizations, when we say them out loud, it doesn't seem like that big a deal. But inside of me, it was this big whoa. And it was how I've so often seen the world around as something to be guarded against or have to fight or be pressured by or like not belonging, somehow not having it be a friendly place to be, and choosing energetically to say, no, I belong here because I'm here. So I have to belong here because this whole thing is conscious too. And it's my friend. We are part of each other. This is my place. I am allowed to be here in this place. And I felt this whole just restructuring, and things like that can affect so many things. When you're talking about doing rituals and plugging in kind of to the microcosm and the macrocosm, that's what it reminds me of, is that feeling. My next question is, you said when you're walking through the forest and you just kind of see something and grab it because it calls to you. What does the call feel like? How do you recognize the call? I'm thinking a lot of people might feel them and not know or not give them time to grow into something to act on.
Hmm. Um, so my intuitive sense, and in my experience, everybody has the ability to tap into their intuition, but the signals that you receive may be stronger in certain ways. So for me, my intuitive sense, I usually hear actual audio cues. And I also get visuals, lots and lots of visuals. So if I'm walking through the forest and a piece of moss speaks to me, I really do mean that it speaks to me. I hear a voice and I hear something telling me, you know, hey, hello, I would like to be a part of what you're about to do. And it's really that literal, as wild as it sounds. But that's my intuitive sense. And I feel like it would be so easy to just brush that away as, your imagination. And the thing is, to me, your imagination and your intuition are pretty much one and the same. They're interchangeable, but we have this way of dismissing imagination as though it's invalid, which is another conversation too. But yeah, so it's for me, it's that, and then when it comes to my art, I just get oftentimes fully realized visualizations that just drop into my head. And I know that they're coming from outside of me. I know that it's not me crafting it so much as, oh, message received. Okay, now I need to see if with my tools I can attempt to recreate this amazing thing in my head.
Wow, amazing. And I've heard so many amazing artists say that. Like even from time immemorial, they say that either Mozart or Beethoven would get the whole symphony in like 10 minutes and then they would spend the next 6 months or however long it was transcribing it, that kind of thing. Okay, last question. So many different systems over the past centuries have destroyed people who listen to their intuition. And so a lot of people have this wounding from their wisdom traditions telling them that to do this kind of thing is wrong. You and I were both raised in a certain religion that was very constrictive and did not allow any mysticism. So we can identify on that. But even for people who maybe didn't have it that extreme, but still feels like, I don't know if I should access my magic, it might be evil because people say magic is bad or that kind of thing. How did you get past that so that now you can feel free enough to go do these things?
It's been a very long journey. So for a while, yeah, so I was born and raised in same religion as Charis, and yeah, very, very restrictive, as she said. Um, and into my adulthood, I ended up leaving. And when I did that, I took a really sharp turn just away from anything spiritual, anything religious, anything at all. I was more or less atheist for a while there. And and so I took this very long indirect route to get here. And really, it started for me about 7 years ago when I started doing yoga. And I went in, with the mindset of, I'm going to get some exercise and I'm going to stretch. And just feeling energetically what was starting to happen within me, all these little shifts started to happen, and it started to just open me up to, and at the same time, actually, I started making my art. And the two really worked together in tandem, and they just opened me up to everything that felt true and everything that I had hidden away and buried under so many rocks from the religion that I was raised in, because I was told that, to do much of what came very natural to me was wrong. Um, and, honestly, I still am healing the wounding, and it's going to take a long time. And I've been doing some pretty heavy lifting on it just since the last solstice. Actually, I've been doing healing work around that, but it's an ongoing journey, and I'm patient around it. But just allowing myself to explore and be curious about what does my spirituality look like without any other input, without anybody telling me what it should look like. What does it actually look like? And for me, the answer was always rooted in nature, and coming back to nature and sitting, again in the forest or by the ocean or in the desert. It kind of doesn't even matter as long as I'm out in nature. Um, but there was a profound connection in spirituality for me with nature, and that always felt true. So yeah, just allowing myself to be curious and explore, and then that exploration has gotten much more intense in the last couple years, and now I just do whatever I want, and I don't worry about it because I know that I'm following my heart, and there can be no um, I shouldn't say there can be no darkness in that, but when you follow your heart and your heart is open and you're willing to receive, you won't be led onto a path that you shouldn't be on anyway.
Yes. Wow. Thank you so much for that. And the concept that spirituality is about our spirit. Like it's your spirit. No one can tell you. People can give you tools that you can choose to use or not, but feeling it within is what's so important. And I want to thank you for doing it because I know the art you create is medicinal. I know it is. And it's a blessing to the world for sure. So thank you for having this conversation with me.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for watching. And yeah, I'll put your info in the info so people can see it. But yes, thank you so much. Sending you so many blessings and enjoy life up there in the north.
Thank you.